Hi guys, so I want to talk about making money with chickens or poultry in general for beginners. So there's a few key things that can kind of make or break your success when it comes to being profitable. So first off, if you're nervous about taking on this endeavor, or if it's your first time getting into livestock at all, look for a breeder that's willing to offer you some mentorship or guidance. Most are happy to kind of set you up for success, because that means they're going to have a probably lifelong customer. I know when we have new poultry farmers or people that are just getting into birds, we try to match them up with the breeds that are going to work best for them, and kind of trying to find out what their coop setups and stuff like that are like, so that we can kind of get them the breeds that are hardy enough for them. If they're heated, sometimes they can get away with some more delicate breeds. Either way, find somebody knowledgeable. They're going to help you out a whole lot more. Usually their birds aren't that much more than going to a hatchery, but you're going to get a whole lot more bang for that buck. Secondly, I know a lot of people say to start small, but realistically, it takes just as much time and effort to care for 20 birds as it does for 10 birds. However, your profit margins increase with the more quantity you have, because you're going to be buying bulk, you're going to be reducing your overall labor time, and really you need to be realistic about your setup. So some setups may not accommodate for more birds. If you're in a backyard setting, don't go buying 100 birds, because you're just not going to have space. But yeah, take a look at that and crunch your numbers, see if you can get things to work out a little bit better for you by increasing your flock size a little bit. Okay, so another big thing, feed makes up about 75% of your overall costs when you're raising animals, typically. So there's so many feed reduction strategies out there. I know we have a couple videos on it. There's other videos from other Farmstead and Homestead channels out there. So big ones, buying in bulk is the easiest one to get started with. We store ours in the tote bag on a pallet in a shed, and we're fine. Mind you, there's about 500 cats running around this farm, so we don't have a mouse issue. Another thing, fermenting. If you've got a family goat or anything like that, you can ferment with the milk as well. Excellent way to add some extra protein in there. You can grow extra produce. Like when we garden, my husband doesn't eat much for vegetables. I've been doing keto. I grow mostly for my animals. So we grow a lot of black oil sunflowers, pumpkins, peas, things that are beneficial that way. So take a look at where you can help to cut those costs without cutting you don't want to cut the quality of your feed, because egg production will go down and that brings your profits down. So the other thing, you don't have to invest a ton of money into your startup. Most of our coops or setups cost us less than $100. We do have some we had invested in some moving crates. We also have some large pallet boxes that the compressors for our local arena came in. We source used plywood and lumber where available. You can also get second cut slabs, pretty cheap to build with. And we buy used construction panels. They're 6 feet tall, so they're nice and tall for most of our birds. And if you clip a wing, they're not going to fly out on you. So you don't have to invest a ton of money. Your chickens want to be clean, dry, and draft free, and they're happy. We get temperatures, as you can see, it's not, it's sunny, but it's not necessarily nice out today. We've had temperatures this winter that are minus 40 prior to the wind chill. So it's cold, and we do not use heaters in our coops. It's too much of a fire risk. Some people do, and that's fine. We personally don't. And our birds are fine with that. We keep hardy breeds. We do even have leghorns that have larger combs. We've had blue Andalusians that have larger combs. Some of them, unfortunately, will get a bit of frostbite. We haven't had serious troubles with that. We have had some birds that lack life preservation skills and won't use their roofs and freeze their toes. That's an unfortunate reality of living in a climate as cold as ours. But overall, we don't have too much issue with it. Again, as long as they're dry and draft free, your birds are gonna be okay. Another thing, be willing to learn, to adapt, think outside the box, repurpose. Like I said, like most of our coops are not very expensive and they're pretty big. We bought those big moving crates for $100 a piece. This was when lumber prices were skyrocketing on us. And each one was, I think it's just shy of 4x8, like a regular piece of plywood, for the floor plan. And we would divide them and build different roofs, and then we'd have a 10x10 run off of each one, and we divide them up as our breeding pens, so we didn't keep huge flocks in each one. But it was a fairly cheap way for us to establish separate breeding pens for the summer. We've changed things since then. We typically keep them in the back of the old barn now, divided with the used construction panels, and then let everything free range come summer. We don't continue breeding purebred birds all season anymore. We just don't have the time for it. We're trying to get our everything going with our new property down in Nevada, which we'll give you an update on in another video. So that's a big thing. Be willing to learn, watch videos, try out different ways. Don't be afraid to repurpose and get away from that keeping up with the Joneses mentality. You don't have to spend a fortune to be a good poultry keeper or to make money at this. Another thing, don't undervalue yourself, your time, your flock, anything. You don't have to necessarily be breeding the best quality show birds to have profitable birds. There's a lot of people that just want good quality birds for their homestead. They don't care what breed they are. They don't care if they come from prize-winning stock. They want to know that their birds in our area, we have customers that buy from us because they know that they don't stay in a heated barn. They know they're coming from hardy stock. They know that we breed for their production value and their size, depending on what breeds they are. So look at what your goals are. If you're wanting to supply other homesteaders or people similar to yourself in your area, then go for that. If you're wanting to supply show stock, then you need to breed to the standard of perfection. But don't undervalue yourself. Just because a bird is for sale for $2 at Tractor Supply or $1 doesn't mean it's got the same quality behind it as you. Those are bred for quantity, not quality. So with that, you also need to be realistic, especially if you aren't starting with the purebred birds and you're starting with a barnyard mix. You're not going to get the same premium price for your chicks as somebody with purebred or crosses that they've worked on generationally are. And that's okay. You don't have to, but just expect that. Another thing I see, and this is a huge pet peeve of mine, I see on a lot of the poultry groups, people will post pictures of their chickens and ask what breed it is, and everybody that they think knows more than them are giving them, oh, it's a blue laced red Wyandotte. Those ones are pretty easy to tell, but you get a lot of crosses that are posted, and then you'll see this person posting hatching eggs of a specific breed that you know they just posted this chicken on. So doing something like that is showing people that do know about birds in your area that you might not know what you're talking about, and that you could be trying to sell them crosses as purebreds. So just be careful with that. It's okay to ask for guidance and stuff like that, but don't take a mutt bird and call it a purebred. That's only gonna hurt you in the long run. You can say that I believe it's a cross between a black copper Moran and a who knows what, but don't try to make up what they are. That's not honest selling. It's only gonna hurt you. So again, back to this knowing your flock. When you're selling your chicks or you're hatching eggs, know your birds, because you're gonna have people from all classes wanting to buy them. So do they meet standard of perfection? If you don't know what the standard of perfection is, they probably don't. So don't advertise them as that. But if they are prolific egg layers, they lay year round, people are looking for that kind of thing and they'll pay a premium for it. So if you can stand behind that, advertise them as that, and you will sell your chicks. And another thing, like anything with livestock, we've seen it with avian influenza this year, or this past year, it can be hard and you can be faced with a lot of challenges. I know we were hit like a ton of bricks because of shutdowns here in Canada with the avian influenza. A lot of our regular sales were cancelled, which we had invested a lot of time and actual money importing birds for. So be prepared. Things happen that are out of your control. So you really need to love or even enjoy what you're doing so that it is not such a chore all the time, and that those losses don't make you shut down and think everything's not worthwhile. So enjoy it while you can. Sometimes fertility drops, sometimes incubators shut down, sometimes you have to cull predators, market fluctuations, like all of that happens, and it's a reality with any of the livestock. So happy farming, subscribe, ask me any questions. I'm happy to help in any way, and I'll see you in our next video.